Welcome back to the GSMC Hockey Podcast, presented by the GSMC Sports Network. We're back with our fourth segment of the night, talking biggest remaining free agents on the board. There's like nobody. This is the first day in NHL history that $1 billion were spent on July 1st in a free agency period. Like, everybody's gone. It's like it's like looking at the room like empty. So there are players left in free agency, but you're not going to get anybody that really moves the needle for a franchise. But there are serviceable players still out there. Cam Atkinson, I think, is the maybe not. I will get Adam Henrique is probably the best player still left on the board, but he is 34 years old, so I don't know how many teams want to take a shot at him. He played fantastic in the Stanley Cup final. You can trust on him to get 2 goals in the Stanley Cup final. But I don't think that he really moves the needle for a lot of these franchises. And his price tag, probably coming off of a 50-point season, is a little bit inflated than you want it for a 34-year-old center. Jacob Vrana is another player that I think can move the needle, but coming off of a big injury, only playing 21 games in this past season, I don't know how many teams want to take a flyer out on him. I think that is a little bit worrisome if you are a GM. Tyler Johnson is still available, coming out of Chicago. Tyler Johnson had a bad season, minus 35. That's all you need to know for him. I don't know how many teams really want to take a chance on him. Vladimir Tarasenko, probably the biggest name left, I would say, in the free agency period here. The right winger from the Stanley Cup winning Florida Panthers has not gotten a contract yet. 55 points in 76 games played. I think Vladimir Tarasenko can absolutely be a valuable player for a team coming up for next season. So we'll see what that looks like We'll see if he does land himself somewhere. I think he absolutely is deserving of a contract, but who knows if he will get one sooner than later. Victor Olofsson, I'm just looking down the board here based off of their most recent contract, going from most to least. So that's so you know what I'm looking at here. Next up, Victor Olofsson, a winger. 15 points in 51 games played. I don't know too many teams that are willing. He's coming off of a $5 million contract. I don't know too many teams that are willing to give him more than 2 for Victor Olofsson. So we'll see what that looks like as well. Tyson Barrie might be the best defenseman remaining on the board. Him, John Klingborg, who's coming off of a major injury, but John Klingborg can absolutely move a team in the right direction if he is back to his, himself. He is a fantastic player in his own right. So we'll see what that looks like for John Klingborg. Other big defensemen that are remaining on the board, Ryan Sutter, but he's 39 years old, so maybe going more into retirement than returning. Justin Schultz, another big name defenseman on the board, minus 23 last season though. Adam Bockfist, who got bought out by the Columbus Blue Jackets. Adam Bockfist getting bought out at a $2.6 million salary and an RFA is really telling for Adam Bockfist. Teams don't really want him. Kind of a big injury history. Had a lot of potential, Adam Bockfist did, but never really living up to it, and this kind of is what it looks like. Other big names. Alexander Barbanov is still on the board. Alex Goligoski, who might go into retirement, is still on the board. Max Pacioretty still on the board. I wouldn't doubt him going into retirement. Eric Brandstrom, defenseman. I believe he's 24 years old. I'm shocked that he didn't get a contract today. This kind of seems like a guy that would have. Only 20 points in 76 games played, but he's a defenseman. He was +5. I think he'll be a serviceable player for any team. Going more down the board, Kyler Yamamoto still available. Michael McLeod is still available, who's a good center on the penalty kill. But not too many other names. There are names like, Carter Hart's available, but he's not going to get a contract with everything that happened with him, and neither should he. But that's a topic for another show. We don't talk about that here on the GSMC Hockey Podcast. But there are a lot of RFAs still out to be signed. with everything, with all the buzz on the UFAs, we do kind of forget about the, guys that kind of slipped through the crack. Lucas Raymond still doesn't have a contract for the Detroit Red Wings, them not being able to get anything done in the early parts of the offseason. I assume he'll be re-signed with the Detroit Red Wings. It's just, he's coming off of a fantastic year, 30 goals, 72 points. He might want around 8 from the Detroit Red Wings. He's 22 years old, fantastic prospect, only getting better. We'll see what that looks like for the Red Wings. The Carolina Hurricanes still need to sign Seth Jarvis. I assume that this mass exodus is to give a guy like Seth Jarvis some money. There's a lot of people leaving Carolina right now, so we'll see if they're able to re-sign Seth Jarvis and what that looks like. Vladimir Tarasenko is not an RFA. He's 32 years old. Quinn Byfield, an RFA from the LA Kings. He is a beast. Seider too. Yes, they do need to re-sign Seider as well for Detroit. Mo Seider had a bad year this past season to his standards. Only 42 points, a -7 for the defenseman, but the entire Red Wings team kind of underperformed, and I do expect that team to completely turn it around. They kind of, to me, seem like the best of the rest. I have my top contending teams in the Eastern Conference, with the likes of the Devils, somehow now the Capitals. I don't know how they got their name into the conversation, but the Panthers are up there. And then I think the Red Wings can start that next tier of kind of the Red Wings, the Rangers, the Lightning. I think is still going to be good next year. So I think the Red Wings will be fantastic. I like them getting Kane back, but we'll see what they do with their pivotal prospects, because Mo Seider and Lucas Raymond will definitely be re-signed. And they also have Joe Veleno as an RFA as well. This offseason, love guys for them are coming up. But other teams, so Quinn Byfield, 55 points in 80 games played for the LA Kings on a pretty rough LA Kings team. He's going to get re-signed. He's a fantastic forward prospect. Kind of leading that rebuild in LA is Quinn Byfield. Next RFA, talk about Martin Necas, will be dealt at some point in this summer. I thought it was going to be today. It was not today. He's already turned... I think the problem is Martin Necas has like 5 teams in his mind that he's willing to go. I think he's already turned down contracts from like 4 or 5 different teams. So... we'll see what that looks like. Like, I know for a fact he's turned down a contract from the Blue Jackets. I think there's another Metro team that he's turned down a contract from, and a couple of Central teams that he's turned down a contract from as well. So we'll see what that looks like for Martin Necas. But the guy is very selective, let me tell you that. But I mean, he holds the power right now, and Carolina knows that. Thomas Harley is an RFA defenseman for the Dallas Stars, a fantastic top 4 defenseman for them. He will get a contract here soon. Kirill Marchenko, an RFA for the Columbus Blue Jackets. I think was first on that team in goals, if I'm not mistaken. They're going to need to resign him. He's a pivotal part to their entire rebuild. He has the potential to play on the right wing, starting the right wing of the first line, starting this next season. I wouldn't be shocked to see Johnny Gaudreau, Sean Monahan, and Kirill Marchenko first line, with how much Johnny Gaudreau loves being a playmaker, loves being able to pass the puck, getting other people into dangerous situations, and how much Sean Monahan and Kirill Marchenko are goal scorers. I think those 3 will work very well on that top line in Columbus, so we'll see what that looks like. Eli Tolvanen for the Seattle Kraken needs a new contract. He's an RFA this season. Cole Perfetti for the Winnipeg Jets, who the Winnipeg Jets might just be having the dead worst offseason of anybody, not being able to manage their prospect situation whatsoever, but hopefully they're able to re-sign Cole Perfetti, but still not giving a contract to him might be bad. Matthew Beniers needs a new contract in Seattle. I'm interested to see what that looks like, because Matthew Beniers showed a couple years ago that he's one of the best prospects in the NHL, but has been kind of teetering off a little bit, but we'll see if he's able to kind of turn around. Anton Lundell, who's coming off a cup for the Florida Panthers, needs a new contract. Dawson Mercer. Cole Sillinger needs a new contract. He's an RFA as well. You also have Joe Veleno, Jack Drury, Nick Robinson, who made it very clear that he is not going back to Toronto anymore. He is one of the more interesting RFAs to look out for. Shane Pinto from the Ottawa Senators is interesting. But I think I don't know if there's too many more that really catch my eye. Payne Krebs is an interesting one for the Buffalo Sabres, actually. I think he wants to re-sign in Buffalo, but I'm shocked that a deal hasn't been done because I can't imagine it being too expensive. And the Sabres look like they kind of want to win here soon. So a lot of people still out, a lot of RFAs still out to be re-signed, but those go late into the those go later into the offseason, go later into July and August. But for the UFAs, kind of the house has been cleared. Kind of everybody's moved out. Everybody's found their new home. So that'll wrap it up for our fourth segment of the biggest UFAs remaining on the board. When I come back for my fifth and final segment of the night, we'll be talking winners and losers from day one of free agency.